And let's welcome Gablit. Go get him, Freddie. I mean Frankie. No, I mean Freddie.
Thank you, Jason.
Inside joke.
This is Zoe. Zoe loves life, hates being bored, and worst of all, really fears missing out on all the really beautiful things happening around her right now. The problem for Zoe is for her to stay on top of everything happening where she is. She has to stay on top of all of this. That's crazy. And that's before she's even thought about the local communities, the businesses, the charities, the forums, even the pub quizzes. For her, the pursuit of knowing everything going on is impossible because there was no one source until she discovered Gablit. The first ever search site for finding everything and anything happening around you, no matter what, no matter where. Let me illustrate by taking you through Gablit through the eyes of Zoe. Zoe met Fred at that music festival last week and are going out on a date together this weekend. So she jumps onto Gablit and she types in live music under 10 bucks. She then types in art, dreaming of that Ferris Bueller's moment in front of the picture, and then she types in happy hour because she hopes to get lucky. Thank you. Zoe's thrilled. She loves it. She's just done 3 simultaneous searches, which means she can see what's happening this weekend in context with each other, and she's never had that before. But better still, Zoe knows that all of this information comes from all of the sources she would have had to have searched one by one, and it's still more comprehensive. What would have taken her an entire evening just took her 5 seconds. But there's something important that Zoe needs to be able to do with this information, and that's store it. So we give her streams. Think of them a bit like playlists of things to do. So Zoe's now going to create a stream for her weekend with Fred. So she goes, new stream, gives it a title, simple description so she remembers which date this is, sets it to private, gives it a cute little icon, and away she goes. Zoe's now going to pick a couple of things that she wants to do with Fred this weekend. So what have we got here? Happy hour en français. Excellent. That's come from Meetup. She's thrilled. Language of love. So she drops it into her stream. Next, she's going to find one more thing to do. There we go. Courtesy of Eventbrite, you're me. That's awesome. All right, cool. She's now got her date with Fred sorted. So now, when the weekend comes, all she does, she goes to her stream, opens up, date with Fred, and she's good to go. But the best thing about these streams is they don't just have to be private. Zoe also has streams that she can co-own or share with members of her family or friends. So for example, here's a stream that she shares with her sister Emma, who lives 3,000 miles away. They see each other as often as they can, and when they are together, their time is special. So they put events into this stream together, they co-own it, and they have a chance to add their own events, so they really know what they're going to do. To them, this is the most effective social collaboration tool that either of them have ever seen. But actually, it gets better still. Streams don't just have to be private or just shared with your friends. Public faces and commercial entities can also create streams that anybody in the world can publish, can subscribe to, and follow. So for example, Zoe is off to Los Angeles tomorrow. Hold on. Thank you. And she's going to set the time for tomorrow. There we go. And now she wants to find something to do. So she flips to Gablit's other interface, the calendar. She can see here what Gablit has recommended, but she's not interested in that. So she's going to turn off what's trending, and she's going to go to the streams that she's subscribed to. So here we can see she's subscribed to LA Weekly, Rock Gods, Lady Gaga, the W Concierge. And so now she's going to pick a couple. Fantastic. And then she can see there's a lot happening Tuesday, March 5th. But it's still not in context. So she's now going to go back to the map, and she can see what's happening that these people that she trusts have recommended around her right now. And she's going to pick one event, and she's going to save it in her LA stream. And now she's done. Those few hours that she's got, she's doing exactly what she wants. But coming next for Zoe, she's going to discover that Gablit can provide her with better personalization through its custom it channels, better relevancy in the searches that she asked for, and deeper social integration within and outside the Gablit platform. So what have we seen? We've seen a platform that has empowered Zoe to spend more time, less time searching, and more time sharing and doing the things she loves. Thank you.
Oh, man.
Go ahead, Robert. You just chomped at the bit. I know Brad's going to have some thoughts. He likes
There's a product in here somewhere, but it needs to be rethought for mobile and cut way down and make it much more simple. Geeks like me would go nuts with this. I don't think the average user is going to do what you just showed. But I might be wrong.
Answer the question. Do you think? What do you think?
What we needed to build was a tool set for the influencers out there.
Yeah.
Because that's core to our user acquisition strategy. We need to have those tool sets for people who actually dictate the agenda of others. Whether it's your friend that recommends you a good comedy night, or somebody with a greater audience looking to distribute to.
Yeah, but
Can you open one more button on the shirt? If you open one more, it'd be just awesome. No,
Onto another.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Next question.
Do the influencers really need a product like this? I feel like they already know where people are going, so you're attacking the wrong audience. It's like the South by Southwest issue. Like you show up at South by Southwest, there's at least like 10 or 15 mobile apps that are like saying, here are all the parties, here are all the things to do, here are all the streams. You know, Plancast tried to do this with their social calendaring. Like, what's the need you're trying to solve? I'm trying to understand what that need or product actually is. And I agree with Robert that there's.
And South by is a great example. I have a map like this of my South by Southwest parties. But let's be honest, when Jason calls me up and says I have a private party going on in my hotel room, I'm going there.
Yeah, that's a pretty good party.
And I'm not sharing.
I've been to that party before.
Completely. I mean, you draw a very
4
good point
a.m.
there. Is most of the existing apps don't allow for that social curation context.
Yeah.
There are ones where you can find what's going on in isolation, without the context. And there are some which will tell you where your friends are now, or what they're already committed to their calendars to do. But what really matters when you're actually thinking about something is that recommendation of something from someone you trust and someone you care about, and whether you want to attend with them. And having the toolkit to be able to pull that in and make it easy for people empowers those influencers to actually go about telling their friends and their communities what's going on.
Here's another way to ask the same question. You can jump in. I'm the influencer in Half Moon Bay. I'm the mayor on Foursquare of the Ritz. So if you come to the Ritz, you see my name, and people call me all the time and go, what else is there to do in town? What place should I go to tonight? Is there a band? Or all the stuff that you were showing me. I'm always on my mobile phone, and I don't have the time in the moment while Jason called me on the phone and says, I'm at the Ritz, I'm bored, to look up at that level of detail.
So you're saying mobile?
Mobile and simplicity. Cut it down.
What do you guys think?
The mobile experience is simple. It's an alpha at the moment. It'll be ready by the end of the month.
Okay.
But the web experience is important for those that actually want to sit down and curate. If you're a blogger, you curate the things to do, not necessarily on the run. If you're going to be really thinking about a longer-term strategy or what you want to share with people, if you happen to be...
So are you saying it's like a moment of, I'm going to Maui for a couple of days or whatever, I need to plan that out, and that's a desktop computer thing, but when I'm in Maui, there's a mobile experience.
Exactly.
Got it. Let's take another question.
I mean, so it does feel to me like boiling the ocean here. It's a problem we all have. I have two issues. Number one is, if I use this and I get garbage, I'm never using it again, right? And it seems to me it's really hard to do this without surfacing a bunch of garbage. And the second thing, much more probably personal for me, the name, really tough.
Okay. So comment, I'll take the first question, the last question first. How bad do you think the name is, and are you willing to change it?
The name is relatively unique. It actually comes from a UK English to gabble about stuff and communicate stuff enthusiastically to other people. So there is actually something drawn in there. So far, actually, the greater incidence of users have preferred the name than not.
Okay. What about Gabble.com? Why don't you get that?
I'm sorry?
Why don't you get Gabble.com then?
We have Gabble.co, we have Gabble.it, we have a number.
Gabble I kind of like.
Yeah, Gabble's fun.
You're a consumer service, and it's hard to type and remember this name. You know, it's one of the challenges you're going to have. In
Good feedback from the judges. And what was the other question? Bad results. How do you filter out all the garbage?
Yeah.
So much garbage. In these
One
event
chance to
searches.
make a first impression with this.
Sure. We do a very good effort of understanding the nature of the event itself and use popularity from across the net in order to promote events within our system. But when it comes down to it, what Gablit is providing is the tool set for other people to recommend stuff.
Right.
So if you happen to have gone to somebody who you thought was the authority on what to do, and they didn't give it to you, then turn around and look to the next guy who we've also provided the tools for.
Right. I guess the final point on that is, to Robert's earlier comment, if you truly help me discover a treasure, something I wouldn't have discovered on my own, you'll have somebody devoted. But if I get on there and I don't, and I went through this whole exercise, and I actually didn't improve my life, I'm going to be really frustrated.
I mean, I think, Sandeep, correct me if I'm wrong, the issue is most people never hit their settings or personalization settings. I know when I was at AOL, they shared the statistic with me. It was like 2% of people would set up the My AOL or the My Yahoo homepage, and we would all be talking about it because we're in the industry. But NetVibes and Page Flakes, it's like the startup graveyard is filled with startups that require you to do work first.
And I think the other challenge you have is I like Google Now, and what Google Now does really well is it has access to your email, and it's crawling through all that stuff, figuring out what you already like without you telling it. So it is creating its own settings, and their recommendation stuff is getting better, but I think they're a tough competitor in this space.
I'm wondering if they did some customer research and segmented their customers a little bit better. For instance, the people who run hotels, and you go downstairs at the Marriott and ask that person for help, they would love a tool like this, right?
They do.
And maybe that's the market, and you just dig in on them and ignore my advice, and they will put up with complexity because they do it 50 times a day, right?
That would be really interesting for a concierge to give this to you with a short URL, and then the short URL sends you to the mobile app with your itinerary in it. That could be an incredible viral strategy, Robert.
And if it hooked up to things like OpenTable or Eventbrite and bought the tickets and got the
it's
tickets.
It's like my itinerary, but prepared on a computer by a concierge. Josh, what do you think?
How are you going to make money?
How do we make money?
Why do you have to ask that, obviously?
Create the marketplace for those that have an agenda to distribute information, and those that obviously want to consume it. Those that have an agenda to distribute, a number of which are already in our private beta, whether it's local clubs or whether it's something like an Amex concierge service, who feel as though this will allow people to engage with what they're recommending better. We can go to them both for event promotion, affiliate services that Rob touched on, and also a subscription model.
So to the point about clarifying the product, so we've backed companies in each one of the sectors. Each one you talked about is incredibly hard to execute on, like if you have to go to each venue. So I would really focus the product so that you can actually make money, because if you try and sell to users, venues, influencers all at once, you're going to fail.
Most great companies, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, make money one way from one customer.
Yeah.
And so when they hear it, and this is one of the things we talked about right in the sort of back in the rehearsals, when a VC like Josh hears, my company makes money 3 different ways from 3 different people, they think, oh, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. You fascinated the audience. I think it's an interesting product and very good. Well done. Let's hear it for Gablit.
Thank you.